Hello everyone, and welcome to another video here, another podcast to do a podcast edition on this video. So I've got my, it's totally a coincidence, but I've got this palm tree shirt on, and I've got the ukulele with me. So I was just going over some the changes and think about some ideas for an upcoming live stream that I'm tentatively planning for either Thursday or Friday of this week. And so I want to do a little bit of a talk on improvising over the changes of Quasimodo, and so going over just some things, and I've been playing around with making some different changes for the solo sort of part. So in particular, the measure 7 through 16. That part, we go to the relative minor. So thinking about having instead of a minor, the natural 5, I'd like to have a minor 7 flat 5, the D7 flat 9 going to the G minor. So I've been playing around with that as sort of an idea there. Okay, and then maybe thinking about E minor 7 flat 5 to A7 flat 9 to the D minor 7 to G7, C minor 7, F7, and kind of F minor, C7, F minor to G7. So I think that's gonna sound pretty cool. So I think those changes are gonna be pretty kind of nice and smooth, moving from one thing to the next. So and this is something that you can kind of do with tunes, is maybe plan or have some alternative changes in mind to kind of play around with. So the kind of getting back to, say, the beginning, we could have so the A section. So basically, let's say E flat 6 or E flat major 7. Maybe have an A minor 7 flat 5 to D7 to the F minor 7 to the B flat 7. We could also think in terms of really the dominant 7, the D7 throughout that. So, or we think in terms of a diminished, E flat diminished. So we could have kind of that kind of thing happening. And then, I like to think somewhat broadly about the changes from there. So basically kind of a 1 chord, and then going to the 2 chord. So another thing that I plan to bring up and kind of talk about is the use of bebop kinds of scales, and as a basic concept for improvisation, if it's just kind of a very broad basic kind of thing, but if you have a tonic major or minor kind of chord, in this case major, then you can kind of connect the 6 and the 5 with just a little chromatic passing tone. And what that does is it allows you to land on chord tones, and so the math sort of works out with it. So you kind of hear I'm landing on this. So basically E flat 6, and then the tones outside of that, outside of those notes, are those are in the key, but then there's one more note that we're adding in here, this tone. So that helps bridge the gap between the 6 and the 5, since there's only a whole step there. Okay, so that's a little thing for any type of chord that's especially you might consider it tonic, even for a moment in time. So we have C minor, for example. So we can do kind of a similar sort of thing. So let's say so anyway, that's the sort of circumstance for those. So sometimes tonic minors follow with the major 7, minor major 7, but not so much in this case, but I'll just point that out. So okay, so that gives you the basically kind of a melodic minor with that chromatic passing tone. Okay, whereas the other one's more like a minor scale with the chromatic passing tone. Okay, so there's really just one note difference between those two. And then pretty much anything else, the bebop type scale is going to be kind of sitting between the root and the flat 7. So if we have the D7, let's say, then you could have that kind of tone there. So just as an example, so that would be one way that you might do it. And then also A minor, if you had A minor 7 flat 5, that's going to be kind of a similar sort of thing there as well. Oh, there we go. All right, so those are some things I plan to talk a little bit about, and also minor chords, especially that are 2 chords. So that C minor, for example, that is a 2-5 at some point there, and so you might do something a little more like, okay, whereas the root to the flat 7, that's kind of where that whole step is. So so that's something that can kind of help to smooth out the lines and things. So on this particular ukulele, I have it tuned to low G. So I have a low G string on it, or a low G set. And then this other ukulele over here got a high G set on that one. But with the low G set, the reason I bring that up is that it's a lot like the top 4 strings of the guitar, and then almost like it's capoed at the 5th fret. So so a lot of the things that you do on it are going to be pretty similar to the guitar. So all of these voicings, and even with the high G set, all these voicings you can kind of use. I kind of like having the low G when I'm thinking about the improvisation, just because that's really kind of my baseline, you might say, as far as tunings goes. So sort of the guitar, and that's one issue with me playing 6-string bass, I find it really kind of confusing to have it all tuned and all fourths. So I'm actually tuning that like a standard guitar tuning over there. So all right, so that's kind of the idea. So on some tunes, and this one I particularly just want to make some different changes because I want to do certain things melodically on it. So I just wanted to make a few changes to it. So it's going to be a little bit different than the chords that I played on the melody video too long ago. So a couple other just little things that I'm trying to do there. In the second half, we get this E flat 6. We get that 2/5, and then we get F minor. So now to another 2/5, B flat 7. We kind of bounce back and forth, and then here I want it to go to the minor. Okay, so it goes to the minor 5, and then 5 of that, back to the minor, and then becomes a 2/5 of A flat. at that point. Okay. Which we could play maybe A flat 6. Okay, so that brings us to the last 8 measures. And so some of these 2/5s, I might also kind of alter them a little bit. C minor. All right, so so I'm just kind of thinking about different ideas and all that. So I'm going to since I'm doing this all just kind of recorded, I'm going to place those into backing tracks for the talk and everything. All right, everybody. If you're watching the video version of this, thanks for being a member there on YouTube. If you're checking this out on the podcast, be sure to check out the YouTube channel. So the last video did pretty well, pretty happy with it. I'm not expecting it to be a super popular tune, so but I think some folks will get some value out of it, and I made a short version of it, which I thought turned out pretty well. One little issue with it was some of the notated chords didn't make it onto that short video, but I guess it just is what it is. So I had some issues with the finale having not all the chords getting entered into there, and then I had to go back and find a fix. Otherwise, I'd have to go back and re-record everything. So and then I just overlooked that when I made the short video. So all right, everybody, well, thanks again for checking this out, and I'll see you all in the next video.